Hello everyone and welcome to this short video about how to use Tabletopia to play Carbon City Zero. My name's Sam Illingworth and along with my colleague Paul Wake, I am one of the designers for Carbon City Zero. So what I'm going to do now is just show you how to play the game on Tabletopia. If you just open up any web browser and type in tabletopia.com, you'll come up with this screen here. If you haven't already got an account, you click on sign up and you can see that you just need to enter an email and a password and you can sign in with Facebook or Twitter or even Steam as well. It's completely free for the most basic level. I've already got a password and an account, so I will go to login and I will sign up here. So then once you click into login, you're presented with your profile. And I want to try and find Carbon City Zero. There's many different games that you can play in this game, which is great. So if you click on Playground and then click on Find and Play, and then in the Search Games area here, if you just type in Carbon City Zero, you can see it turns up. You click on that button there. You're introduced to a little bit about the game, some pictures, some links on where you can find it on Board Game Geek, and also crucially where you can download a free print and play version of the game on P&P Arcade. Here's a couple of videos as well on how to play the game itself. And what you need to do now is click on the button that says Play Online. So what you'll see here is that we've now created a new room. And I'm going to show you how to play the two-player version of this game. So crucially, you'll see that there's a little hashtag generated down here. Now, this is the hashtag that you need to share with friends. So I'm going to text this to my friend Paul. The hashtag is CXDXC8. That's CXDXC8. And what Paul will then do is type that into this little search bar here, and we can see that he has now joined me. I'll then click on start, and then when Paul says he's ready, we will open the room. So this opens up the room in Tabletopia for Carbon City Zero, and I'll just show you very quickly how we can each take a turn in playing this game. So it's a really nice interaction. You can turn the sounds on and off by pressing this button down here. If you want any clues on how to actually use Tabletopia, if you press the question mark button, it tells you what all of the shortcuts for the mouse and everything like that are, which is really helpful. And then finally, if you click on this little page button here, it gives you all the game rules for Carbon City Zero if you forget how to play, which is great. First thing to remember is if you press the 0 button, it takes you to a top-down view of the screen, which is quite handy, or 1 back to normal. You can just use the mouse to drag yourself around, and you can use a trackpad or a mouse scroll button to zoom in and out like this. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to start the game. So you go over to this little shovel here and you go to turn-based clockwise. This is what we find to be the most effective way of playing it. And that will now tell me that it's my turn. So I click on the screen. Now Carbon City Zero is all set up, which is really nice. The first thing to do is to shuffle the market deck, which is here. So if I right click on that and go to shuffle, it will shuffle it. I then have to put 5 cards into the marketplace. So if I right click on this again and go to take, which is this little hand, and then scroll down to 5, it will put 5 cards on the table. Now before I press anything else, if I press the F button, that will flip them over. And then what I need to do is I need to drag these into the marketplace. So if I've got a global card, which I have here, that goes into the global card area. I've got a surplus global cards that goes into landfill. These are in the rules of the game. And then these go into the market card area. Now we've designed this so that it should automatically snap on. I need to take another 2 cards for the initial setup. Press F again to flip them over. We can see the computer hasn't actually shuffled these very well because we've got 3 different things. Now, if you hover over the landfill pile, it'll go orange slightly, which means that it then forms part of that deck. So you can see I've got 2 cards in the landfill. So I'll take another one of these, flip that card over, and then now we've got a complete marketplace. You can see that both Paul and I, Paul's yellow, I'm green, start on 40, and the aim of the game is to get down to 0. So now what I do is I shuffle my player deck. I'm green, so I'm green, player 1, and then I take 5 cards, 5. Again, if I just scroll out a bit, you can see that they're there. Press the F button to flip them all over. Then I click so that they're not highlighted. And then what I do is I drag them into this play area here that's bounded by the white box, so you can see them all. If you want to zoom in on a card, you just click on the card and press the space button. And you can do that for any card on the table, which is nice. So I won't go into the finer details of the game, but it basically works by using your budget, which is this yellow symbol down here, to buy other cards for a cost equal to their silver symbol, and then the carbon tracker gets adjusted by the carbon number down here. So I've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 gold for budget. So I can buy, let's have a look. I'm going to be naughty and buy this large factory. So the large factory goes, drag that into my recycle pile. Replenish the market deck by just taking 1 card and dragging it into that area there. I've still got 1 left because that only cost me 3. So I'm going to buy another small factory, put that into my recycle pile. Now, again, you want to drag it so it turns slightly orange that you can see there on the screen, and that will build it fully into that deck. I'm going to take another card to always replenish the market deck. It will automatically flip the card over for you if you drag it into that area. And I can see that my carbon, I'm not going to buy anything else. My carbon goes up by 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to move my little player here, which is green, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to drag these cards into my landfill, my recycle pile, sorry. And then I'm going to end my turn by clicking on the end turn button. And then Paul's going to take his go. And that's how the game continues. And then eventually these pawns move their way down the track. And let's say that Paul does a much better job than me and Paul ends up winning the game. So I end up on, let's say, 7 and Paul ends up on 0. You then click on this Tabletopia game menu here, go to finish and say that Paul's won that game, confirm the results. And we can see that, well done, Paul's got 1 more point than me. Then you can go back to the lobby and you can continue to play. And so you can build up the stack like that. So that's how you play Tabletopia and how you play Carbon City Zero on Tabletopia. And we look forward to hearing what you think about it. Thank you very much.